So don't you think he's just so awesome? How many touchdowns do you think he could get this year?
I think AP is going to probably finish with, somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 14 touchdowns.
I think there's a chance he could have 18.
Hey, guys, we're on air right now.
What? Oh, sorry.
Oh, welcome back.
We were just talking about Adrian Peterson, our favorite player.
I put his jersey back on because, it was like drawing me in, while it was hanging back there. Right. We love Adrian Peterson as far as football playing goes.
We're pretty high on him.
We're two, straight normal dudes who are very comfortable in our masculinity, and we can say that we have man love. I can say that I love Jesse as my brother, and I can also say that I definitely love Adrian Peterson as a member of the Minnesota Vikings. He's just the bomb, dude.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier last week when we started. We play in one league together. It's a pretty cool league. We can tell the fantasy junkies out there a little bit about it. It's with a whole bunch of the writers on staff over at Fanball, and it's an auction. We went in there, Jeff, and we set our mind that we were going to get Adrian Peterson. It's a dynasty league. You can sign players to extendable contracts. So we signed AP for a long deal. He's the cornerstone of our franchise. And last week we took it to Bo Mitchell, the senior editor on Fanball. So
that was sweet.
Big ups.
And this weekend, Charge, we're coming gunning.
Yeah, we're coming gunning for Charge this week.
It's going to be sweet.
With AP. So that's enough gushing about our favorite player. Obviously, AP is a potential future Hall of Famer, but the guy who is definitely the best running back in football right now, fantasy football and NFL for sure. Obviously, we're talking about LaDainian Tomlinson. San Diego traveling to New England in the marquee matchup of the week on Sunday night. There's so much turmoil swirling around this thing. The Patriots cheating and all the different variables from the playoff matchup from a year ago. What a great game on Sunday night.
It's going to be fantastic. A premier matchup, potential AFC Conference Championship showdown preview here for San Diego at New England. San Diego put it down against the Chicago Bears last week. Looked great on defense.
Yeah, great on defense. The Bears could do absolutely nothing. And although the Bears defense did give San Diego some fits, they got LT.
Well, yeah, when your quarterback is as good as LaDainian Tomlinson is, you can't keep that team down. He's got a perfect passer rating, and I'm ready to say, let's put LT out there as a wide receiver. Let's let him take snaps as a quarterback and just let him do his own thing. They can split Phillip Rivers out wide one time. It would totally confuse Bill Belichick.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd have to go to the tape later on.
Yeah, and check out the hand signals and whatnot. Well, when you talk about from a fantasy perspective in this matchup, I think there are some really intriguing plays here. Obviously, Randy Moss made a major statement last week.
The return of Randy.
Blowing up against the Jets. Randy Moss looking like the Randy of old, Jeff. Is this going to happen all year?
Yeah, it's crazy. He's wearing number 81 now. He was streaking down the sidelines. It almost seemed like Bill Belichick. We know he's totally a forthcoming and everything out on the table kind of guy. It almost seemed like all the hamstring talk was just Bill Belichick, pulling a fast one on the league.
Yeah, totally.
And then getting his new toy out there, Randy, to just slice and dice against the defense of the Jets.
And it especially helps when you know all of the coverages that your opponents are going to be using. You're like, hey, over there, this guy said this, and then we know that's cover two. So go deep, Randy.
Right.
That makes a big difference too. But seriously, New England has to be the Super Bowl favorite, and their players are all great fantasy plays here in a marquee matchup, even though they're playing San Diego.
Well, I think San Diego is excellent at stopping the run, so I'm a little bit concerned about what Lawrence Maroney is going to be able to do here at Foxborough Stadium. I think that if you can have the ability to reserve Lawrence Maroney for now, I'm watching to see what he can do. Although, if you've got him, you probably need to start him.
Right.
He's that valuable of a player, so I've got 2 in 1 league. I think he should be decent about what he was last week, and I'd like to see him get in the end zone this weekend.
The one bench player in this game, I think, is Phillip Rivers. He didn't throw a touchdown last week against the Bears. New England can bring the D2. They're going to be mixing up their blitz packages, bringing pressure off the corners. Phillip Rivers, he can look really good against some subpar opponents, but from time to time in marquee matchups, they just really lean heavily on LT. So I think from a San Diego perspective, you might consider benching him. And Vincent Jackson, their sleeper wide receiver, was kind of invisible last week. He could have some troubles this week too, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that Bill Belichick is definitely going to bring the defense here in this game. They're going to be up for this game in a major way. This cheating situation has been such a talker around the news media lately. the one thing that I'd like to say about it is just simply that it's obvious that Eric Mangini has gotten into the head of Bill Belichick. And I think that it's, everything that Bill Belichick has done, from bringing Randy and Dante Stallworth in and revamping the offense to the taping of the signals and the coaches. I mean, he even knows what hair gel Mangini likes to use, you know what I'm saying? So it's obvious that Belichick has gotten a little bit on tilt by Mangini and is taking extra measures to keep, his situation intact.
Well, I think it certainly feels like the Patriots understand that a dynasty starts with 4 Super Bowl rings. All the great dynasties of all time had 4 Super Bowl rings. They've got 3 right now, and there's even been some rumors that Belichick, if he got a 4th, might even leave town. So seems like he's kind of throwing all caution to the wind compared to how they built their championship teams early on. It's all about win now, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jeff. I predict they win now this week. I think they beat San Diego in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think their defense will play a major role, and I also think that special teams play or a defensive play could turn the tide in this game.
Fun matchup, though, nonetheless.
Definitely.
Seattle traveling to Arizona. Now, the Cardinals looked a little bit shaky on Monday night. Edgerrin James was a little bit surprising how well he was able to run, but in the passing game, they just did not spread the field out. Matt Leinart looked a little statue-esque, really, in the pocket. So I have some concerns here about Arizona. Seattle traveling to town. I don't know what to make of this matchup, really.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. It's got the feel of a high-scoring game, although sometimes it goes the exact opposite. I was really impressed watching their game about how good Edge is in working with such a poor offensive line. So as long as he's on a Cardinal, I think his performance is going to be hindered and his talent is going to be hindered by that line. I'd like to see Fitzgerald get going. Leinart needs to hook up with him. If they can't do that, it's going to be a long day for the Cardinals because Seattle brings the defense.
Right. It's just Ken Wisenhunt is bringing the same offensive philosophy that they had in Pittsburgh over here to Arizona. And sometimes I wonder, Jeff, if their personnel doesn't suggest a different strategy. I mean, they've got Fitz and Bolden and they've got Johnson at their number 3 wideout. I wonder why those 3 guys aren't on the field, why they aren't spreading the opponent out a little bit more instead of trying to play the power game with Leinart doing a lot more play action. It just makes me wonder if Arizona might not have it all quite figured out here. But one thing we know about Seattle is they have it figured out. They're going to give the ball to Big Sean, and he scored a touch last week. He's going to score a touch here, too.
Yeah, I definitely think a hot start for Alexander. He's going to continue to do well. Could get nicked up as the season goes on, but if you've got him, ride him while he's hot and then see if you can't trade him to somebody else right before he goes down a little bit. The question that I have is, I know that you're kind of a Deion Branch believer. So what's up with Deion Branch?
Well, last week, Jeff, Deion Branch had a couple targets in the red zone. Didn't make it the most of any of those opportunities. Fantasy owners who started Deion Branch last week were absolutely blanked by him. He got nothing going. But I got to look back at their preseason. A lot of fantasy experts think DJ Hackett was going to be the big surprise here at wide receiver. Now Hackett is down with a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for several weeks. Deion Branch is their best wide receiver. Mike Holmgren said it in the paper that sometimes opponents will do something specifically to try to take one of your players away. And last week, the player that Seattle's opponent, Tampa Bay, tried to take away was Deion Branch. They double covered him the entire game. They took him away, and now I don't see Arizona doing that again. So I think Branch will come out in this contest. He'll be much more serviceable. I'm hoping he gets in the end zone because I'm starting him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, well, let's hope that the branch doesn't break, dude. For you.
Yeah, let's hope the branch doesn't break for sure. It's bending and almost breaking. That's Chad Pennington's ankle. The Jets play Baltimore this week. What a great week to trot out Kellen Clemens. Here you go, boy. Right. Play the Ravens.
Yeah, right. And the Ravens are going to feast. It's going to be them all over the guts of Kellen Clemens in that game, if that's the case. I don't like any Jets this weekend at all.
Nope.
Baltimore is definitely a little bit irritated by the fact that they lost in a game that they could have won if their offense would have played better.
That was a heap of crap call, too, at the end of the game.
Totally a heap of crap call. Oh. Poor Heap. He had a touchdown there, and they took that off the board. And I know that always really hurts a team, especially the coaching staff. Baltimore gets healthy in a major way. those of you with McGahee got the shaft to seeing Musa Smith. I was against him, so I was like, go Musa Smith. It was sweet.
Me too. That's for you, Cabbage.
Yeah, right. Well, I think McGahee's going to get into the end zone here this weekend. So go ahead and start him with confidence. When they're at home, McGahee's going to do better. And I'm sure that he was a little irritated that he didn't get the call there for the touchdown at the goal line area. So he's not a guy who's going to keep his yap shut. If he's not getting the touchdown love, he's going to start to complain.
Yeah, he's from Miami.
So watch him go.
He's got a big mouth.
He'll score this weekend.
The biggest development for Baltimore during this week here has been the news that Ray Lewis does not have a torn triceps, which is really good news for their defense. He played throughout the game. He was definitely inhibited by his arm. He said after the game he thought he had torn his triceps, but it was not torn. So he's intact. Baltimore's D is intact. They're going to roll here. Bench all your Jets. The next matchup we're breaking down is Oakland at Denver, an AFC West matchup. Jeff, last week the Broncos looked pretty good on offense, didn't score a bunch of points, but racked up a bunch of yards. Now they travel home to Mile High. I think they're going to put a few more points on the board in this one.
Well, things should go very well for them. Oakland is a much improved team, although they're still not very good. I really like Denver to take off here at Mile High Stadium. They're at home, their home opener. It's always fun to have your home opener be against a big divisional opponent. Although the Raiders have been in the abyss, in the black hole for several years now, that abyss is named Al Davis, and he's run that team into the ground.
For sure.
Now it's older, although their defense, I think, could make the playoffs. Their offense isn't quite ready. I wouldn't be surprised to see Denver get a couple interceptions on whether it's Luke McCown or Dante Culpepper starting.
Right, exactly. And Oakland had some moments last week, but come on, those moments were against the Detroit Lions. I mean, realistically, Denver's D is on a completely different level when you've got Champ Bailey and Dre Bly in the defensive backfield. Although fantasy owners rushed out to their waiver wires to pick up Ronald Curry, they have to bench Curry in this matchup because Denver brings the D for real.
Yeah, and they should also probably stop Lamont Jordan. If you've got him on your team and you started him last week, then kudos to you because Lamont Jordan had a great game. And although he's a hot little pistol for that team, I just don't think that he's going to get it going against a stout rush defense.
And on the other side of the ball, when Denver gets that running game going, everything really opens up. Travis Henry posted a boatload of yards last week with no touchdown, but Tatum Bell scored against Oakland in week 1, so Henry's going to score at least 1, maybe 2 times in this game as Denver rolls on offense. We like Javon Walker here as well. Held out of the end zone last week. The touchdown went across the field to Brandon Marshall. I think that Walker has a good chance to make a big play, get in the end zone here. Cutler's a must start as well.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos are going to roll.
Washington at Philly, an exciting Monday nighter, Jeff, to wrap up the Week 2 show, wrap up Week 2 in the NFL. What do you think is going to happen in this showdown, man?
I like a lot of the guys in this game. I think this could be a higher scoring game than a lot of people think it's gonna be. It's a big NFC East divisional matchup, and it's at Philadelphia. Philadelphia's big weakness on defense is they struggle with stopping the rush up the middle. And I think Clinton Portis could be sweet this weekend.
Yeah, I like Clinton Portis here. Big players show up in big games on big stages. Portis showed us last week that he is healthy. He's ready to go. They're going to give him the ball a lot here. Philly at home, I do think they'll win this game, but the tale here is really Donovan McNabb. Last week, Jeff, he was 15 of 33, which is uncharacteristically low for his completion percentage. Only had 184 yards passing against the Packers. So now people are starting to question, is he healthy? Is he not healthy? I think he answers those questions this week. Reggie Brown will catch more than 1 pass in this game. I think Philly posts a solid number. Washington's going to put out a good showing. I think these two teams give us a lot to watch in that Monday nighter.
Yeah, those nationally televised night games are the games that the players themselves get really excited for. And when they come along, like Jesse said, the big players really get up extra. I like Santana Moss in this matchup. We mentioned Portis before. I also like Chris Cooley in this matchup, and I like Brian Westbrook and Kevin Curtis. All of your fantasy players on the offensive side of the ball are going to do well in a game where it's going to be easy to abandon the defense.
Yeah, and let's face it, Monday night is so much better now that Joe Theismann's not in the booth. I mean, Monday night without Joe Theismann, thank you, NFL gods. Thank you so much. And thank you The fantasy football viewers for checking out our show. We implore you, go on to our website as soon as the show is over. Check it out. It's testosteronesports.com. We're rocking the Fat Chat, helping you with your lineup and matchup decisions. We're wrapping week 2, Jeff. Testosterone, because if you want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports.